feet hip width apart. Just try and relax the shoulders, find some length at the back of the neck, crown of the head rising up towards the ceiling, tuck the pelvis under. So find pelvic floor, pull in, try and get that front bit, so the pubic bone drawing back to the centre, and the back bit where the coccyx is drawing into the centre as well. And then TVA hollowing down towards the hips. We're going to pull in 100%, hold for 5 seconds, and then a slow release. And then I'm going to add some little bit of breathing kind of exercise to that. So pulling in, take 100%. And then I want you just to think about the breath, actually. So it's going to be hard, so we're concentrating on the core and the breath. So breathing in, so a big deep breath, and then out, out, out. Okay, so keep holding the 100%. We're going to go 3 deep breaths. In, out, out, out. 2 more. Breathing in, keep the 100%. In, and out, out, out. So nice deep breaths. 1 more. Keep the 100%. In. So really inflating the chest, widening rib cage. Out, out, out. Then slow release all the core. And it is quite tricky putting both of these together. So then we'll go again. 100% pelvic floor, 100% TVA. You're almost thinking about drawing tummy button back to the spine. And again. In, out, out, out. 2 more. Deep breath. Shoulders relaxed. And 1 more. Keep the 100%. Widening rib cage, broaden collarbones. And then release everything, let all the core go. 1 more. Core, TVA pulling in, shoulders relaxed. Big deep breath in, and out, out, and out. 2 more. And last one. Then take that percentage down to 50%. So you've got the engagement, but it's not so much concentration that we're holding our breath. And then we're just going to pretend we're taking a jumper off. So slide the hands around, almost like crossing the elbows, reaching up and then opening out. So it's just a bit like a morning stretch. So but that idea of taking off a jumper and opening out. 1 more, and then just switch the arms over. Reaching up, so this is just a nice stretch. Switch the arms over for the arms, a little bit of work on the chest. Notice if you're still working with the TVA and the pelvic floor, and the pelvis is still tucked under, so we're not arching in the lower back. And 1 more. Then we're going to go to neck release, shoulder glide, and we're going 3 times each side. So ear down to shoulder, drift over to the side, keep the hips still, then recenter, lift, and then take it over for a side bend, other hand on the hip, and then release. Now see if we can get a little bit of flow. So it's almost like a tree, and you're kind of just flowing and going with the breeze. If that makes sense. So you've got your neck release, drift to the side, centering, draw in the core for the centering, and your side bend. So if you can do it without kind of pausing almost, so you're kind of really working all the time into some sort of flow, into some sort of movement. Keep the knees soft. 1 more each side. You can really think about pressing down into the floor with the feet. Last time. Keep working with pelvic floor. Flowing through, coming back to center. So next one we're going to go to our squats, and we'll have the weight handy. So start, bend the knees, hips back into space, reach the arms forwards, lifting up, adding in. So you can go up and then circle round and then up onto the toes for a balance. So for your squat, squeeze glutes, lift, going up onto the toes, just finding some balance. Bring the attention to the knees, check they're not pronating in, check the feet and the arches underneath the feet don't roll in. One more. Then we can put some weight in or not if you choose. A little bit wider. Into the squat, but reach opposite hand down to foot and then kind of reaching up. It's a little bit of a spin to the side. Come down, other side. Reach and then spin across. Now option here with the weight is almost like a wood chop. So you take your weight down to the opposite foot and then driving it across. Then you're over to the other side. So it's down and then lift. Coming down and then reaching up. We go down to the beach, which is about a 10-minute drive away. We get all our driftwood for our stove in the yurt. And then Steve's brought an axe and he's been chopping it all up, so he's been doing loads of this. For real. You get to look to the side on that, so it's a really nice full twist across. Engage with the core. Take the eye gaze to the side. 2 more. And last one. So you can keep hold of one weight for the next one because it's a scapular set with one arm. And then just see if you can do opposite leg lift. So you bring in some sort of balance element to it. And again, you can do this without the weight if you want. Notice what's happening with the pelvis. So keep the pelvis tucked under so you're not arching in the lower back. Keep engaging with pelvic floor and TVA. And maybe you feel the stretch from the shoulder to the chest. Maybe you feel it around the back and you feel like you're getting that adjustment there in the scapula. I can also feel it in my ankle, so I think it's because of the balance. Strengthening my ankle. Switch sides. I'm just placing my hand here on my TV just to keep it engaging. I think 3 things here for my brain and my core's not always turning on. So I'm trying to keep the attention there. Breathing out as you go round to the side. 3 more. Keep finding pelvic floor, keep working with that TVA. Release, so weights down to the side, a little bit more balance. So just transfer the weight onto one foot and just hold, close your eyes. If you can go palms together and just really think about pressing them together, so pushing palm against palm, shoulders down and back. So it's just finding a little bit of centering. And if you can just think about that breath again as well, so breathing in, and in. So it's just those extra deep breaths out, out, out. And then release, and then just take 8 little heel lifts. So just balancing on one foot, lifting up, squeeze glutes. We're getting the connection from the feet to the glutes, the pelvic floor, up to the brain. Try and keep the shoulders relaxed. Eye gaze forwards. Then we're going to go over to the other side. Same thing, palms together, shoulders relaxed. Try to see if you can press them together a little bit there. Maybe you can feel kind of the scapula in your back getting kind of pressed together there as well. So shoulders down and back, closing your eyes, and again work with the breath. You're working with this balance, pulling pelvic floor, pulling TVA. Working with that same 3 in, and then out, out, out. And then going into those heel lifts, 8 heel lifts, just gently lifting up, lowering. Pulling in pelvic floor, squeezing glutes. Shoulders relaxed. Eye gaze forwards. Three more. So release, just a little bit of a stretch now, and I'm gonna put it down so you see a bit more of my legs and fit me on in. Cross the legs over. So if we just start with taking the right leg across the left, and then interlink the fingers. Then lift the arms up over the head. Reach up, but pull the core in as you're doing it. So it's a really nice reach. And then we're just going to gently take this over, and you can let the hips slide to the side slightly towards the left foot. So it's the back foot in this position. IT band stretch, lower back stretch, and then gently lifting up. Use your core, lift up again, extend. Keep the length at the back of the neck, and again, just coming down towards that back foot. And lifting up, breathing in, breathing out, coming down. Eye gaze kind of goes back towards the thigh, so you get the back of the neck relaxed, and breathing in left. And then we'll switch sides. So cross the legs. Left leg goes over the top on this one. Interlink the fingers, lift up. Try and keep the pelvis tucked under, so don't arch in the lower back. And then just breathing out, folding over, looking back towards the thigh. We're going to that right foot this time. And breathing in, lift. Length at the back of the neck. Tuck the pelvis under, try not to arch the lower back with this. And bring it down. So the stretch OT band runs on the outside of the leg, from the glute down towards the side of the knee. And then release from there. And let's all meet in a downward dog. So we'll make our way down onto the mat now. Or a puppy dog if that suits you better. Spread the fingers, spiral biceps towards each other. If you're a little bit tight, maybe think about sending thighs towards the chest. If we're not getting that shape from the hands up to the hips and the shoulders, drift it to a plank position, drawing the core, set back to the heels, and then just hinge from the hips a little bit more. Sometimes you just need that exercise to get into the shoulder, the chest, the shoulder stretch, the back. Doesn't need to have the heels down. We can be heels lifted. We can bend knees to really create the stretch in here. Think about that breath again. So go back to that in. So those nice deep breaths, out, and out. So we're gonna transition towards a low lunge or a pigeon. So just bend in the left, let's go right knee, bend in the right knee, take it towards the head, lift it up, turn the foot to the side, then bring that forwards. Now option to your low lunge, or option to come down into pigeon. So up to you. Depends how much you want to work with hip opening kind of stuff, or you just want to focus with hip flexor. If we're here in pigeon, let's have a moment. Lift up, shoulders down and back, draw up the rib cage, and then 3 breaths, bring it down, forehead down towards mat. Think about squaring the hips in pigeon to the front of the mat. If you're in that low lunge, Perhaps you can think about 3 breaths, extend the arms up over the head. So whichever one that you've chosen, you're working with those nice deep breaths again. You can think about the breathing in, and out, out, out. We'll take a release from pigeon or low lunge back in a downward dog. So send the hips back up to the ceiling. Again, you could walk through if you want the stretch at the backs of the legs, or you can think about more the stretch at the backs of the shoulders, bend the knees, send the chest towards the thighs. Try and keep the head in between the arms. And then we're going to work with the other side, so it's left leg, bend at the knee, extend, lift up, open, work with the hips. Then bring that forwards, your choice now. Low lunge, lift arms up towards the ceiling, or bring it down to a pigeon, square the hips towards the front of the mat. Take a moment, lift rib cage, draw shoulders back, then bring it down for 3 deep breaths. If you're in that low lunge, try and keep the eye gaze forwards. Feel the hip flexors stretch. And again, we go back to breathing in, out, out, out. So just slowing down the breath. So one more release in a downward dog. So step that leg back, send the hips up. Again, finding your place in dog. So whether it's bending knees, thinking about the backs of the shoulders, chest to thighs, spread fingers, or whether you're walking through, stretching calf muscles, hamstrings. Slowly going to bring that down onto all fours. Take a moment now just to find yourself in neutral and work with your pelvic floor, your TVA, so pulling in. Go back to that breath again, so think about widening the rib cage, almost broadening collarbones, find some length at the back of the neck with the breath. Again, you can work with your in, out, 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 if that helps, if you say that to yourself. Just work with 2 more breaths. And we're going to work with opposite arm, opposite leg extension. So squeeze in the glutes and then lifting up the leg, draw the arm up level with the shoulder. Then explore the corners. So just take those 2 things, the arm, the leg to the sides, the corners of the mat, then recenter, and then place it back down. So work into your extension, and then just explore the corners, and then bringing it back to center. So when we extend, think about the lower back being nice and stable. Use the TVA. So really think about pulling in that core now, working with the pelvic floor as well. Try and squeeze in the glutes for the lift and the hold. Staying nice and still in those hips, trying not to let them tilt to the side. Eye gaze to the front of the mat. 3 on each side, so this for me is my last 1 on each side. Try and breathing out for the extension. Then exploring the corners, we take another breath, and then breathe back out for an extension to finish. So a bit of a release here is, we're on all fours, you don't need to swap around just to show you. Is you just take, it's a hip exercise, so I'm going to work with my left leg, take that to the side, so my left foot turns to the side, and then just really simply and slowly, I'm going to kind of roll the body into that left side and then recenter. Draw in the core, and it's just a gentle hip opening exercise, and then recenter. Also quite good for the pelvis as well, but it has to be very gentle. You don't want to overdo it. And the groin muscles to get a slow, steady stretch. One more. Also for the ankle, obviously, because we're turning the foot to the side. Then we'll go to the other side. So I'm turning with my right, and then just slowly working into there. And recentering. Keep the connection with the pelvic floor and the TVA. We're not thinking about pushing through any pain with this, we're just gently stretching through. And just one more. So coming down to the mat then, so lying on your fronts. Just rest your head on your hand, and we're going to go back to the glutes, so squeezing in one of the glutes and just drift up the legs. So if you can point the toes and then release it back down. Let's try and get the order. Squeeze the glutes, hamstrings activate, lower back stabilizes. So try not to let the lower back tilt side to side. Sometimes this can be a little bit more comfortable if you have a bit of space between your feet. So if you do it with your feet like glued together, it's quite challenging. But if you just let your legs relax a bit, and for me that means taking them about hip width and then working into these. Try and breathe out as you work into your lifts. Perhaps thinking about pointing the toes, it kind of works into the calf muscles there as well. Gets all the muscles squeezing, activating. Trying to keep the connection there with the TVA, the pelvic floor as well. Just two more. Then just an upper body release before we go to a swan dive. Place your hands on the top corners of the mat, gently pushing up to a mini cobra. Engage pelvic floor and TVA. Lift up rib cage, but roll and take the shoulders down and back. Eye gaze forwards. Think about widening the rib cage with the breath. And then gently bringing that down. So just let the arms go a bit wider to your cactus, and then we'll go lifting head and shoulders, eye gaze down, and lowering for your swan dive. If you want more and you want to progress through, adding the arms left and lower. This is super hard for me today because I will admit I've been binge watching crime drama, but I've been sitting in bed watching television, which is like the worst thing for the back really, because you lie down just with your head and shoulders crunched up at the end with pillows. So I'm finding this super hard today. So I'm not going to progress, but if you want to progress, it's lift and then extend. Reach back to cactus, try and keep the length of the back of the neck and lower it down. But you've always got the option just to stay with the arms down, working into the lifts and the lowers. And just try and take the weight off the forearms as much as you can to train the muscles, the top of the spine to do this lifting. Just notice if you're holding any tension down in your legs. So I notice I'm really pressing down with my feet. I'm tightening and working my glutes. Just see if you can let go of the legs, but work with the core and the muscles in the back. Two more, whichever version you're working with. So we're going to release with a cat stretch. So back onto all fours, chin to chest, tuck the pelvis under, draw the tummy muscles in. And here you can just send the breath, widen through the shoulders. Bring it down to a bit more of a neutral position with the spine. And then we're just going to take a little thread through and a twist. So lifting one arm up to the ceiling, looking up, and then threading that underneath the arm. Bring the head down and reach forwards with the other fingers. And keep reaching, so keep stretching underneath that arm. And with the other arm you can reach to the sides, you can keep working into your twist. Go back to that breath. In, and in. You'll really feel that as you work into your twist. Out, out, out. Then unraveling, we'll go to the other side, sweep the arm up, and then threading it through. Hips go up to the ceiling, and then start reaching the hand to the front of the mat. Feel the stretch underneath the arm, and then work at reaching the arm to the side. Then come back to that breath. In, really expanding, working with the rib cage. In, out, out, and out. One more breath. Then unraveling, coming up. Then we're going to go to our front leg pull. So come down, elbows underneath your shoulders, pelvic floor in TVA, lifting up the hips. Check that you're not arching the lower back. So that would look like the lower back arch. So then just tuck the pelvis under and then find TVA. Really go for a big squeeze here. Maybe 70%, something like that. So you're kind of really working with the TVA a lot. Then you can think about straightening one leg, straightening the other leg and holding. Gonna go for about 30 seconds. Or maybe a knee drop, and then the focus there will be on the hips. Being still, not tilting side to side. Keep the awareness in the shoulders as well. So try and keep the shoulders down and back. So the shoulders aren't rounded and the crown of head stays in line with the spine. Staying nice and still in the middle. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing that with a child's pose, so sitting back towards your heels. If child's pose doesn't suit you, perhaps a puppy dog where your hips go up to the ceiling. Just find thumbs together, index fingers together, place them down on the mat in front. See if you can drop the elbows off to the side of the mat. Bring your forehead down. And then see if you can use that breath, so breathing into the belly, into the rib cage, in towards the back of the neck, up towards the back of the head. And then out, out, out. Four more breaths. So gently coming up, and then find your small bands, your loop bands, and pick a side. In fact, I should say, pick a side and then switch it to the other side. I always go to the same side first, so I'm going to switch it today. So bands kind of just above the knee. Bring it down, ankle, heels in line with hips, shoulders, lift, top knee, lower. But we want to be in this position where we're nearly tilting forwards. Now I've got a really heavy band, so I can't lift too high, but I can straight away, I get that activation into that glute med. Hand on hip just to stop that hip really opening. And also all hand here, TVA pelvic floor, just to see if we've got some engagement in there. Also quite a nice stretch here for the neck. Just holding the head up here, so you get the stretch from the ear down towards the shoulder. So you should feel it a little bit more quickly with the band in there. Hopefully you feel, so you turn it up and then you can almost pause or squeeze a little bit more into the band and then release. So you can just kind of tease and work with that when it's the glute med. Breathing out lift, breathing in lower. Should we go back 4 more? Are you starting to feel it in there now? I've got quite a heavy band, so I can definitely feel it. Oh. The last one. You can leave the bands in there. We're going to go for a double leg lift and a twist to a teaser. So you need to be near the front of the side of your mat. So lift and then lift, rib cage, arm up for the balance. Reach the arm up, so it's almost working with the chest. Release, then draw the core in, and see if you can lift up into a teaser. Now I just lifted with both arms, so there's an option in there to progress from last week. Then bring it all back down. Lift, lift, rib cage. Take a moment on the balance, draw in the core. Let everything release for the roll, shoulders relaxed. Then see if you can lift yourself up to the teaser position. Nice, 2 more. Slowly roll it down, roll it over. Into the lifts then. Progressing up to a balance. Then find the core here, pelvic floor, TVA for a nice little squeeze. Then relax. Then start to draw up. Lift up the rib cage, take the shoulders down and back. Release. Roll. Last time into the lifts. Try and get that little bit of a squeeze on the rib cage. Arm up. Little bit of a squeeze and extension. Release. Draw in the core again. And left. Good work. Bringing that down then. Option to leave the band in, but mine's a little bit heavy for this, so I'm going to take it out. It depends how much torque you've got in your band. Side plank. Same as we did last week, but this time I'm going to put the combination together. Elbow under shoulder, lift up hips. Draw in the core. So you can put your weight into this as well. So we're going to go leg lift, knee touch, elbow, lift, and then twist. Leg lift, knee touch, elbow, and then foot down, twist. Leg lift, knee elbow, foot down, twist 2 more times. We're going 5 times through. Leg lift. It's almost a little bit more challenging for me, I'm finding, with the coordination to put them together in this order. And then into that twist. Leg lift, knee touch elbow, and then twist. Knowing me, I'll probably forget that order on the other side. Lower it down. We'll go to the other side then. So again, if you used your bands, grab your bands for the clams. just above the knees. Heels in line with hips, in line with shoulders, engage core, check you're almost leaning forwards, then just lifting top knee, lowering. Keep the control in there, so it's breathing out left, breathing in lower, so we're not going too fast. It's funny this actually, because last week I had a bit of a cold and I couldn't smell very well, and then today I brought this top in a charity shop last week and it was only £1. I thought it was a bargain. It was like a Nike top. And I thought, oh great, but I haven't washed it. So it smells like somebody else. I'm like, this is weird. It's like it's not me. And then I can also smell these bands have been out in the shed because I've got a little gym in the shed. And they just smell like real, not mouldy, but like damp. So it just smells a bit funny. Weird. But don't normally notice that, but that's probably because I've had this cold. So I'm feeling that now, so I'm going to work with about 6 more just to get a little bit of work into that glute med. Try not to let the whole hip open with this and keep the core engaged. Breathing out left, breathing in lower. 3 more. Then extend the legs. Make sure you've got a bit of space because we're putting the twist again, the roll to teaser. Left, left, rib cage left. Arm up, hold that balance just for a second. Then everything just relaxes, and then you can see if you can bring yourself up into teaser. Then think about rib cage, shoulders down and back. You can also take teaser at this point with the legs, knees bent. Bring it round again. 3 more, left, left. Rib cage. A little bit of an extension, reach. Everything relaxes, roll, chin goes to chest. Reach the hands up. And release. 2 more into the left. Rib cage. Balance. Find the core here, so it's pelvic floor with TVA. Release. Maybe a little sweep down, chin into chest. Draw up the feet. Last one. Lowering down. Left. Rib cage left. Extend. Get that little bit of a squeeze. Work with the core. Then release. Chin to chest. Draw in the core. Lift up the legs. Slide the hands up. Teasers. Try not to hold the breath. Releasing that down. Ditch the bands if you didn't like them in there for the leg lifts. Otherwise, get the weights. Elbow underneath your shoulder. Line up your elbow with your knee. Draw in the core. Who remembers it? Leg lift. Knee to elbow. And then foot down, twist. Leg lift. Knee to elbow. Foot down and then twist. There's always a pause in between each one, so you can work your leg lift and then knee to elbow, foot down. So it just helps you keep the control and precision. And leg lift, knee to elbow. The hips sink a little bit on that one, but that's good because you get the outside of the hip, you get the obliques working. 2 more. I'm sure this is good for the brain. And then left, last time, into the twist. And gently release, bring that down. Make your way onto your backs. I'm just going to adjust my camera so you see a bit more of my mat. And just have a little pelvic tilt, find neutral spine. Relax the shoulders. Length of the back of the neck, so we don't want the chin lifting up, so if you have got the chin lifting up, grab a cushion and put it underneath the head. Find pelvic floor, find TVA. Perhaps just place hands here on hips, and we're going to focus on these hips, pelvis. Try and keep it still as one knee drops to the side. We did do this one last week, but I think it's a good one for pelvic stability. And then recenter, go to the other side. So alternating knee drops. And it's a really kind of soft way of just getting a groin inner thigh stretch. Try not to hold the breath, so breathing out as if you want, you can breathe out as you lower the knee. Breathe in center. Now just see what's happening with the lower back. So is the lower back imprinting evenly as you drop your knee? Are your shoulders relaxed? Is your jaw relaxed? Because obviously you're concentrating here. Then when you drop one knee, what happens to the other knee? The spare knee, I call it. How many knees have you got? Try and keep the spare knee pointing up towards the ceiling. So option, if you've got your weights, you could put in a chest press here. So I'm going to grab them. So you've got both arms dropping, one knee dropping, which is a little bit confusing for the brain at first. So if you've got that lower back imprinting, you put that stability in there, that pelvic stability, you're working with the core. One knee drops down, other knee points to the ceiling, but both arms drop for your chest stretch, chest press. Length at the back of the neck, so your chin's not pointing up to the ceiling, you've got the length there. So now we can try opposite knee to opposite arm drop, and then recenter. Notice what happens in the lower back. Does it tilt or wiggle at that point? Does the other knee drop? See if you can keep it all centered in that middle, nice and controlled and stable in the middle. Just two more. Then just lift the arms up to the ceiling. If you get tired, you can put your weights down. Extend one leg up to the ceiling. And then small circles. The size of a melon, something like that. Nice and slow. So breathing in, breathing out. Same focus. We're keeping the hips still. We're staying stable, strong in the middle. The lower back imprints, other way around. And think about the spare knee here. The number one spare knee. Try and keep that pointing up to the ceiling. It's not spiraling or moving with this leg. Imprint shoulder blades down. So you know that exercise I've given you before where you twist the wrist, you lift up the arms, and then you imprint shoulder blades down. Just imprint them with the weights. Don't lift, just imprint. We'll swap legs. So extend the other leg, push away at the back of the knee so we get a nice straight leg, and then you can work with a pointed toe if you choose. Same focus here, lower back imprinting, core engaging, spare knee still, shoulders imprinting, chin pointing down towards chest or pointing towards the legs at least. Other way around. Keeping that focus there in the center. Try not to go too fast with these circles. Release, place the weights down either side. Walk the feet in so you can touch your heels. Go back to that pelvic tilt. Treat it like a massage for the lower back, and maybe also release there. You might find your hip flexors get a bit of a release. Then we'll go into our shoulder bridge. So next time you tilt, lift up the hips. Chin goes towards chest. You get this great release at the back of the neck. Both arms up and over. Progressions, if you want, extend one leg, squeeze in the glutes. Then work at alternating the arms through. And see if you can keep nice and still here. Keep squeezing the glutes. Just 3 times, swap these arms over. Keep the hips lifted, glutes firing. And then we'll switch legs. Keep the feet hip width. And again, work with those alternating arms, reaching overhead, right through the fingertips. Try not to let the shoulders wiggle. One more, and then we'll do a nice slow roll down through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Hug knees into chest. A little bit of a rock or a circle here. A bit of a release. Other way around. So let's go with our 5 sets. So it's 4 toe taps, 8-second pulse, and then an 8-second hold. I'll put progressions in if you want. I'm going to start on beginner's layer. Sometimes think that first set is super good to get the precision, get the control in the center. So pelvic floor TVA in, imprinting lower back, shoulders relaxed, palms up. 4 toe taps, lift one leg up to tabletop. 4 and lower. And 3. Try not to let those hips tilt as you lift and lower. 2 and 1. Lift head and shoulders or hands just behind ears. Pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5. Stay strong in the wrists, strong in the forearms, pulsing from the shoulders. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide hands towards knees. Just a little bit of a movement from the rib cage down to hips. Or you can be in this position supporting the neck. 8, 7, 6, hold. 5, 4, 3, keep breathing. 2, 1, and then a slow release. Progressions, tabletops. Imprint lower back down, shoulders relaxed. 4 toe taps. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift head and shoulders, pulse. 8, 7, 6. Tummy still. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten legs. Reach ribs to hips. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. 3 sets to go. Progressions if you want. 4 toe taps. Opposite arm to knee to leg drop. 4, 3. Stay strong in the middle. 2. Work with the pelvic floor. 1. Lift head and shoulders, tummy still. Hover. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise to teasers. Hold. 8, 7, 6. Pull the tummies in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Here we go then. A little bit quicker now. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Take a full body stretch here. Going back to what we did in the warm-up, just interlink the fingers. So we've just that move when we did the IT band stretch. Just take that position with the arms and just take a really big stretch here. Arms just around the ears. Pull tummies in. Just give everything a little bit of a squeeze. Point toes. Big deep breath in. Breathe out. Let go of the fingers. Let the feet turn out. Just a bit of a relaxing couple of breaths. And then bending knees, neutral spine. Take a heel slide and then recenter. Bring the focus to the hips. So are the hips wiggling as you slide away? So then if you find pelvic floor, TVA, Notice where the lower back is imprinting and down onto the mat. See if you can keep it all still. Options to add in, just hands behind ears and look towards the knees. Then again, with control, see if you can keep it all still, because you'll find the back again wants to kind of wiggle with this into the extensions. Options again for progressions, you tabletop that single leg stretch from here, and again we're thinking about this control, the imprint of that lower back as you work into your extension, and it's breathing out as you extend. You feel where you kind of, when you extend, the back wants to wiggle into that. You don't have to go so low to the ground either. You can work into a bit more of a lift in the extension if it feels like too much. 4 more. Staying really super still in the middle. Place the head down, hug knees into chest, then bring the arms down, extend both legs, double leg stretch. Hug knees to chest, take a little bit of a rock, and then extend. We're still imprinting, we're still going pelvic floor TVA, lower back imprint. You feel happy with that and you want a little bit more. Hug knees into chest, then extend the arms almost to like a Y shape, a star shape, to those top 2 corners. So we're opening, there's a little bit of chest kind of stretch there, chest to shoulder. And it's breathing out into that extension, breathing in into the little bit of a rock, hug knees to chest. 2 more. Keep imprinting, spine down onto mat. Release, bend the knees, take the feet as wide as your mat. And then arms out to the sides. And breathing out, just let both knees drop across to one side. And because you've got this wide position with the feet, you'll just find a few more stretches there around the hips, but also a little bit of a bigger stretch for the lower back as you drop across. Also, you've got your chest stretch. You can look in the other direction for the neck work, neck release. And just move through. So breathing in center, breathing out over the other side. And we can go back to that breath practice where we breathe in, and in. So really think about inflating the lungs and then out, out, out. And you really find the softening in the stretch in the out part. Should we just work 2 more of these? And then come to center. Take your long band for a hamstring stretch. But if you can, see if you can place your foot in the long side of it, so that there's your band. So place your foot into the long side of the band. Looks a bit like that. Yeah. Bit of a fiddly one to get into, but we're going to take a hamstring stretch. So extend that leg, push at the back of the knee like we normally do, to find particularly the central hamstring part. Watch the spare knee doesn't turn out to the side, because obviously it does that often to just help with the lower kind of release with the back. So we'll just take a moment for the hamstrings. Try and keep the shoulders relaxed and the head relaxed so we're not compromising all the posture work that we do. Obviously you can do this without the band as well. And then you work a point and a flex, and then it's really juicy on the calf muscles and the ankles And also quite nice for the arch as well, underneath the foot for strengthening the arch. So you come down and then you point, working into that long length of the band. And you can almost feel it. I mean, I can feel this from the glutes, going all the way up the hamstring right out to the feet, which is a really good kind of nerve, kind of connection type exercise as well. Again, just try and keep shoulders relaxed. And then just take the foot to the side. So the inside of the bottom of the sole of the foot almost wants to point to the side, and then over to the other side. So this is for the ankle. Particularly good if you sort of run or walk on rough ground, this one. So you're just strengthening around the ankles. Try and keep the knees still. You also find it around the sort of shins and around the either side of the lower leg. Go really slowly into them. And if you've got hold of the band in one hand, just gently take that over to the side for an inner thigh stretch. So just allow the leg to drop to the side really slowly with control. We're not going to an uncomfortable stretch. It's not going all the way down to the floor. Just a little bit of there's 3 big hamstrings. This is the inside one that we're trying to just get into. Bring that up to centre and then we'll switch legs. So it's just a bit of a fiddle getting the foot inside the long side of the band. Once you get into there, then you can take it up into your hamstring stretch, push right at the back of the knee. About 30 seconds just to find it here. Spare knee pointing up to the ceiling. Imprint lower back down. Shoulders relaxed. Just allowing the hamstring to go to its first reaction of like, oh, ding, to, oh, I'm going to relax. And then we can just work with the stretch. Think about the breath again. So again, you can work with your in, out, out, if that helps you. Just slow down the breath. And then just start playing with that again, that point to flex with the foot. And you can really feel kind of the ankle, a little bit work with the calf muscle. Again, you want to feel it from kind of all the way along that hamstring, really. That's about 3 more, working with the point to flex really slowly into it as well, so slower the better, more control. Watch the spare knee, doesn't turn out. Then you can go inside and outside with the foot, so just kind of working with all those muscles around the ankle. And then holding the band with one hand, is allowing that leg to go out to the side for your inner hamstring, inner thigh stretch with control. I've got a wall in the way, but it's fine. I can still feel a little bit of a stretch. Still imprinting with lower back here. One more deep breath. And then releasing from there, put the band aside, hug knees into chest. So if you can rock yourself up, we'll take a hover. A little bit of core work here, so hover, hold on to shins, rock back. Come back up to your hover. C-shaped lower back down. It's almost like a reset here for the spine. Couple more. Just one more, staying nice and tight in a ball. rock back coming up. So, I'm aware of the time a little bit. I'm aware, what did I have planned? A roll down. We've done teasers already though, haven't we? So a couple of times. So I think I'll bring it into a spine twist and we'll finish, I think. Palms together, shoulders down and back, and you can really work at pressing palms together if it helps you just to stabilise shoulders in position. Breathing in, get tall, and breathing out, ever so slight twist. Doesn't have to be very far around to get the muscles either side of the spine. Centering, breathing in, breathing out of the side. Okay, keep working through. Length of the back of the neck. Notice if any shoulders dipping. Sometimes it's the pressing the palms together is quite good to stop the shoulders dipping. If it starts to dip, maybe don't go so far around. 2 more. Just looking across to the spare knees each time. Coming to centre, a bit of a shake on the shoulders, or a roll. Namaste, thank you very much.